there was famous DJ Eddie O-J out of Cleveland. As a matter of fact, he gave the O-Js their name, Eddie
Right.
O-J. So
I've heard of him.
Oh, okay,
I've
yes.
heard of him.
when
Mhm.
I was working at WLIB and WBLS, really, I was a teenager at the time. I was going to school, and I was hired by LIB and BLS to do a board operator duty. So I'd already been working there for about a month. I'd worked with every one of the DJs, running their boards, queuing up their records, playing the commercials, doing all those things that you have to do. So I was assigned to Eddie O'J's show. He was the morning DJ. So I walk into the studio and he said, no, no, I don't want you. I want the experienced guy. And I never forgot that because I figure we're really here in whatever industry and whatever business that we're a part of to help bring another generation along, kind of transfer the knowledge, transfer the wealth. And he was a negative, but there were a lot of other Black announcers and DJs as I was growing up in New York City who would allow me to come into their studio when I was very young, watch them, and they did for me the same things I would like to do for some other young people. It doesn't even have to be, it could be a man or a woman, it doesn't really matter. When I started, I really didn't know that many people in broadcasting. I think the key for me was my college experience, my college radio experience, because one of the engineers at the radio station, he was doing consultancy work for one of the big stations in New York. And when an opening came up, I was 19 years old at the time. I got fired at that job after a year for not paying as much attention to some of the details that I should have been. But that's how I got my first job. Then after that, it was on to WLIB and WBLS. And after that, I got my first announcing job in upstate New York. It was a good experience working 18 months in upstate New York, but I think the biggest break for me was getting hired by Walt Baby Love. He was a big announcer.
Yes, I'm familiar with that name, Walt Baby Love.
Yeah, he worked in New York, he worked in LA, he worked in Detroit, he worked all over the place. He was
Yes.
hired as a consultant, and I saw a little blurb in one of the major trade publications that said, if you're interested in working, give Walt Baby Love a call. Now, I don't think people would put their phone numbers in Indeed listings today, things like that. But one of the morals of the story is to always watch industry magazines, newsletters, electronic newsletters. So I contacted Walt Love. He said, hey, send me a tape. I sent him a tape. He liked my tape, and I was hired. And I was one of the original DJs in Atlantic City at WUSS. And the story about WUSS is it was the first Black owned station in the state of New Jersey. I
Hmm.
was on the original staff. But let me go to 2021 and tell you how writing the book really came along. I was surveying some historical notes online about WUSS, and I came across one short anecdote. And the person who wrote the anecdote really started in the middle of the story. I said, hey, what's this? We needed a prequel. So I decided, after doing a lot of research, going through all the papers that I had saved from the various places that I worked, I said, I'm just going to put in the time and the effort to write this book. And it took about 2 years on and off. But once I did a quick little reveal on one of those social media sites, said, oh, it's out there. I have to finish the book. And I did.